Hello and welcome to Yorkshire Voice. I'm Alicia Atkinson. Coming up on today's programme. Over 70 families are at risk of losing their homes if plans to demolish their estate go ahead.
I mean, it's had an effect on my health, both physical and mental health.
Leeds Wellbeing Week is back for a third year and aims to reduce stress and anxiety through a number of events across the city. And the tree disease that will cost taxpayers more than foot and mouth.
Probably dominate a lot of woodland in the UK, especially smaller woodlands, so it is going to be a big problem for York.
Over 70 families in Leeds could lose their homes if plans to demolish their estate go ahead. The plans are about to go into consideration with the council after 18 months of protest from people who live in Alton. I visited one family to see how this affects them. Cindy Readman has lived at Wordsworth Drive with her husband and children for 14 years, but it all could change. Housing contractor Pemberstone submitted a planning application to demolish over 70 rented homes in Alton and replace them with 3 to 4 bedroom houses. After 18 months of campaigning, LS26 residents will shortly find out if planning has been granted by the council.
It's been going on for over 18 months now and we've noticed a big difference. I mean, it's had an effect on my health, both physical and mental health, and a lot of other people, especially the elderly people that live here, it's really affected them a lot. A lot of them are suffering, physically and mentally. It's just draining because it's just been going on so long, and you get good bits and then you get bad bits, and you just it's like a roller coaster ride really. Some days you can feel really good about something and then you get another bit of news and it knocks you right back down again. So it's been really draining.
Families in the area are concerned that if they are evicted, there could be a 71-week wait for housing, even as a priority. If the planning is approved, residents say they will continue to fight.
We can't appeal it, but what we can do is try and take it to judicial review, so take it to court. We've started making investigations about that, how much a solicitor would be if we could manage to do it, if they think it's worth doing. We've heard of other cases around the country that have been successful doing that as well, so that's given us a bit of an uplift knowing that they've been successful. If it doesn't get passed, we know that they'll probably take it to appeal, but then that'll be higher, that'll be to government rather than local council to decide what happens.
A number of high-profile MPs, councillors and society have supported the Save Our Homes LS26 campaign. Cindy has encouraged people to support their campaign by signing a petition, which you can find on our Yorkshire Voice website. We contacted Pemberstone for a statement and they said that refurbishing the houses in Alton is not the solution, as the houses are coming towards the end of their lifespan. They are trying to reassure tenants that they will be offered housing on the new estate and are working alongside local housing associations to make this possible. This week in Leeds is the third consecutive Wellbeing Week, which aims to reduce stress and anxiety through a number of events across the city. Our reporter Harry McMullen has been out and about to see some of the events in the week.
The Wizoo workspace in Leeds city centre on a sunny Friday morning, as office managers and staff attend a workshop teaching them on the importance of wellbeing in the workplace. This workshop is just one of the several events put on throughout Leeds Wellbeing Week, a wellbeing festival first set up in 2017 to promote wellbeing and to tackle stress and anxiety across the city.
Leeds Wellbeing Week is a yearly wellbeing festival that happens every year in the spring. Our goal is to make wellbeing initiatives visible and accessible to Leeds people, and so that wellbeing, to let people know that wellbeing is everywhere, for everyone, and can be everything. Going for a walk with your dog, having a coffee with a friend, or going for a yoga class can be part of your wellbeing strategies.
This afternoon I went along to one of the week's physical classes, a Lagree class at Leeds-based gym, Love Lagree. Lagree is a mix of aerobics and yoga, slow-paced yet intensive, allowing participants to be at one with themselves.
I think first of all, when people are working out, they feel better. They feel this workout gives you...
It refers back to that, the mind-body
mind-body connection.
You've got the whole.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of Lagree. It kind of encompasses all aspects of wellness within a physical workout.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So you kind of could say, without getting too deep on you, that there's a mind-body spirit connection in here. You you really tap into that whole. And I'll always refer to that
it's
whole
like that
because
whole.
It is exactly that.
Yeah.
And so
it's so slow. You've got time to connect. You're thinking about what am I working, and you've got 1 minute, 2 minutes to focus. And I think people need that. It's almost like I'm getting my intensity, but it's slow, and I've got time for me to think about me. And people go away after 50 minutes, and we're getting a lot of feedback. I feel great. It's giving me a lift. Restorative, perfect word.
With record attendances at this year's events, it's fair to say that this year's Leeds Wellbeing Week has been a massive success.
A Leeds City Councillor has spoken out against fellow Conservative MP Liz Truss after she backed building houses on green belts. Green belts are the protected green spaces around cities, and Councillor Jonathan Taylor says they are vital for maintaining a healthy way of life in the city. Liz Truss made the comments last week in the Mail on Sunday's You magazine, saying it was the only way to help young people afford new homes.
The green belt is more than just green fields. It preserves the integrity of our towns and our villages. People move to the suburbs because they like the feel of Horsforth, or they like the feel of Rawdon or Yeadon, to Carveley or Farsley. And it is important that we maintain what we have here, and green spaces in particular, I think, play a good part in maintaining and improving people's mental health as well.
Experts warn that an outbreak of measles could happen due to some parents refusing to vaccinate their children. Schools could be asked to make it compulsory for pupils to be vaccinated to prevent the resurgence of a potentially fatal illness. We asked people in Leeds for their opinions on this issue.
I think it's irresponsible, and I don't think people understand the consequences if they don't have them vaccinated. It's a killer disease.
I feel like if it was my own child, I'd want to do anything to sort of ensure the child's safety. So if there's any sort of measures and precautions you can take for that, I do that 100% of the way, every single time.
So my children are in their 30s now, and I would have every single vaccination that was recommended by the doctor. I see no reason whatsoever not to.
Leeds Playhouse has announced that it will be reopening its doors in October this year, following a £15.8 million redevelopment. As part of its relaunch, the theatre will be hosting an open weekend from the 11th to the 13th of October to allow visitors to explore its auditorium and backstage spaces. It's hoped that the redevelopment will make Leeds Playhouse a cultural landmark in the city. More than 10,000 children are now living in poverty in York, according to a national campaign. The End Child Poverty Coalition has revealed that there is a 3% increase since 2017, with a 25% increase last year in the use of food banks. This has left many local councillors and MPs concerned. A fungal disease originating in Asia is set to cost the British economy over £15 billion, a third more than the reported cost of the foot and mouth outbreak in 2001, Will Ford reports.
Ash trees are the third most common tree in the UK and are in danger of being all but wiped out by a fungal disease known as ash dieback. The first reported case of the disease in the UK was in 2012, and it has spread rapidly since then.
Ash dieback is particularly virulent within young trees, so we find that a lot of regeneration, new trees that are planted, can succumb to it very quickly and die within a year or two. The disease can very quickly affect straight into the core of the stem and essentially cut off the life support systems of that tree. They are a large proportion of many woodlands. In fact, they probably dominate a lot of woodland in the UK, especially smaller woodlands. So it is going to be a big problem for Yorkshire.
There are around 3 billion trees in the UK, and ash makes up roughly 20% of that number. Of those ash trees, ash dieback is set to wipe out around 90% in the next 20 years.
The high proportion of cost will be on health and safety work. So where trees are such as a park like this, there's a lot of money that needs to be spent in terms of clearing up dead trees, but also proactive management of the tree stock. However, part of the big cost to the UK economy will be the loss of the benefits that trees provide. So obviously they water purification, prevention of flooding, air purification, carbon sequestration. These are all things that trees provide, and ash, being one of our most common trees, do an awful lot towards those benefits.
Can we find a way to control this disease which poses a serious threat to our delicate ecosystems?
And now over to Matty Ramage with the sport. And it was a big night in Headingley last night, wasn't it?
It certainly was, with the Leeds Rhinos unveiling their new North stand last night. Fans were promised a historic night. However, the performance on the field was much less exciting as they were defeated by rivals Castleford Tigers. The 30-8 defeat means Leeds could drop to 11th tonight should KR beat fellow strugglers Huddersfield.
Okay, so it's a huge weekend for the region's championship clubs. What are the biggest ties happening this weekend?
Well, there are 7 Yorkshire clubs involved in this weekend's Summer Bash at Bloomfield Road in Blackpool. Saturday involves a big derby as Bradford Bulls take on Halifax. Also on that day, Featherstone Rovers take on recently promoted York City Knights, while Sunday's action includes a heavy Woodland derby between Batley and Dewsbury Rams.
Okay, well that sounds great. So what else is happening over the weekend?
Well, in the cricket, England will play Pakistan in Headingley on Sunday. This is England's final warm-up game before the World Cup, and it's sure to be well attended by both sets of fans. And in the football, Doncaster Rovers will travel to Charlton tonight, hoping to overturn a 1-goal deficit in the League One playoff semi-final, second leg.
Okay, and I believe there's been news on the England Women's World Cup squad.
Well, manager Phil Neville has announced the squad numbers for the England side travelling to the World Cup in France, which begins in just 3 weeks' time. The Lionesses will be hoping to go one better than their 2015 campaign when they exited the competition at the semi-final stage. Amongst the ranks are North Yorkshire-born trio Rachel Daly, Beth Mead and Lucy Staniforth, who will wear the numbers 17, 22 and 23 respectively.
Thanks, Matty. And now for the weather. Our reporter James Fountain is reporting live to us. James, how's the weather where you are?
Hi Alicia, yes, the weather here, as you can see, is getting quite windy, and that means that the weather's changing. Overnight it's going to be 10 degrees, and tomorrow you can expect some rain and some breezes as well. 14, 15 degrees, but quite chilly feeling. Sunday it should be quite dry, there shouldn't be any rain at all, but it will be 18 degrees or so. And actually that leads us into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which will be around about 19 degrees plus throughout the week. So that's not too bad, and it should be nice and warm next week. One good thing about the weekend though, although it's going to be wet, is that there won't be much pollen around, so the pollen count's going to be low. Good news for hay fever sufferers. Please do keep your pictures coming in. We do like to see them. We've got some very good ones that we've had so far. And actually, if you would like to follow us, you can follow us on yorkshire-voice.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at YorkshireV. Okay, Alicia, it's back to the studio.
Thank you, James. A lot of you have been getting out and about this week, enjoying the weather and sending us your pictures. Let's take a look at some of our favourites. It's been perfect weather for a walk in the countryside, taking a breath of fresh air. Nesborough has been looking postcard perfect in the sunshine. Here's a lovely shot of the town's viaduct. The local woodland areas have been looking like a scene from a fairy tale. And what better excuse to get and enjoy the weather than to take a man's best friend for a walk. Thank you all for sending in your weather pictures this week. Do make sure to keep sending them in all the way over the weekend, and the best ones will be featured on Monday's show. And that's all from us today. We will be back on Monday with your local news. You can find us on Twitter at YorkshireV, and you can also follow us on the website www.yorkshire-voice.com. From all of us in the studio, thank you so much for watching and have a great weekend. Bye for now.